All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this amazing live stream video webinar for smart meetings. Guys, my name is Jason Ellinger, for those of you who do not know me, and I'm the CEO of Tiger Translations. And we've been in business for about 11 years doing translation, interpretation, and digital online services. So I have worked through the process of becoming a much better meeting doer over these years of doing business. When I was in the United States Air Force, we did meetings. When I was after the United States Air Force, and I worked in an HVAC company in South Texas, a small family-owned business, and then I transitioned to my own company back a little over 11 years ago with my wife. It became very, very apparent that there were some skills that I needed to improve on to get good at if my business was gonna stay alive. And I have to admit that as I started my business, I really was not good at a lot of things, and meetings was one of them. In fact, I hated it. In fact, I wanted to at the beginning kind of create a business model that didn't have that where we didn't have to have meetings, and I kind of like spread that. I just used that methodology for the first couple of years, and it was very detrimental to our business. And as we started to grow, and as I started to collect a couple of team members into the business to do the work, it became very apparent that if I didn't learn the necessary skills, and then master those, and then implement the right meeting strategy into my business, that I would be the lid on my organization, just like John Maxwell says in his book, causing my organization to not grow any further. I would be that cap that would not allow us to get where we could be if I invested and learned and applied. So this is 20 years of frustration condensed into a really quick setting to help you understand exactly what meeting rhythms you need for your business, apply those, and get the maximum benefit out of them as you work forward. So I'm a boots on the ground kind of guy. I like to learn something and immediately go to application as soon as I can understand it, get my head around it, and wrap my head around the benefits for it, for me, for my company, and for those who are going to be participating. And so if you are that kind of person, if you are ground boots on the ground kind of person, then you are my kind of person, okay? Because I don't like just kind of theoretical, kind of squishy stuff that doesn't do anything for anybody. I like, okay, what am I supposed to do, and how is that going to affect us? What are the options? Okay, from those options, this is the best option. Okay, from that option, how do I implement it and get it up and running, by next week? And that's the way I think. It's just think, 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 think through a process of elimination, kind of finding the things that work, cutting out the things that don't, kind of just charging forwards. And over time, I've learned to be much more strategic in that, and I've sat under the counseling and the tutelage of other great business leaders in the marketplace, and I've learned some key principles about meetings, and that's what I'm going to bring to you today. And I hope that it helps you in your journey for building your business, because ultimately, I want to provide hope for business entrepreneurs out there, for visionaries, for people who have dreams that they want to take from a dream to actual fruition states where they're reaping the benefits of those, and they're driving forwards, and they're actually winning in their business, and they're fulfilled, and they feel the energy that an incredible team that's working in a direction for a cause works, how that actually impacts their life for good. And so that's my heart on this whole subject. And I hope that as we get into the meat and potatoes of it, that you really can see that we move quickly from the theory part of it to, okay, here's the things you need to do now implement, and here's how we can implement it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I hope this is very, very instrumental for you and your business, and very applicable, so that you can take the information that you have from this and at least start building on it. And if you need assistance with it, I can help with that as well. So when we think about meetings, what do we think? What words come to mind? So some of those words that come to mind for a lot of people are words like Boring, long, mandatory. We had in the Air Force, we used to have this thing called mandatory fun. You're like, what? Then why is it mandatory? If it's fun, why is it mandatory? But it was mandatory fun, and so every weekend you had to sign up for mandatory fun. But it was an effort to help personnel not sit in their dorm rooms the entire weekend, but actually to get out and about, breathe some fresh air, and spend time outside and doing some kind of useful, helpful activity. So when I think about when I used to think about meetings, right, it was like it's like rabbit trails. Okay, it's the CEO soapbox time again. Wasted time, pointless, for goodness sake, another meeting, and frustrating. And so when you would leave the meeting, when I would leave meetings with our team, oh my gosh, we just wasted a ton of time. All these people are on the payroll at the same time, and it's just so frustrating and pointless. We didn't achieve the objective. What do we do? Most people hate meetings, and at the very least, they dislike them. Okay, and we have all participated in bad meetings. And this function is so important to your company and how it works each and every day. You cannot do without doing good meetings. You cannot run your business without doing good meetings if you're going to grow. You can do it in a small, not growing very much business, but if you're going to grow your business beyond that, you're going to have to learn this. So the vast majority, there's a vast, vast, vast opportunity within great meetings. And there is something that I would, if there was one thing I could convince you of as we go through this webinar today, is the opportunity cost of not doing meetings well, and how much investing in good meetings helps your organization grow, helps it unite, and helps it to ultimately succeed and stand the test of time. Because this one practice in and throughout the life of your company is the drumbeat of activity, of excellence, and of proactivity that helps you grow your business successfully. It is the singular activity in a business that causes them to win. I was meeting with an entrepreneur, and I was going over the necessity of meetings and the types of meetings and what needs to happen in those meetings. And he kind of blew it off. He was like, we don't need that kind of stuff. We've been in business for 6 years and we're fine. You know, we're going on, we're growing. I'm gonna grow our business to like $60 million. And I was like, you're not even close to like 100,000. Like, you're not gonna get to $60 million doing business this way. And it's like, just blew it off. The next year, less than 12 months, that same business person is like, oh man, Jason, business is going terrible. Things suck. I'm not moving. My business is falling apart. I just had to sell part of the property that the business owns to pay for this operations. I don't know what the heck is going on. We haven't dealt with the problems internally, and they're all impacting our business very badly. And heck, this is bad. I'm not enjoying this. My business is falling apart. I'm not sure we're going to make it. And I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, man, I wish you would have paid attention 12 months ago. I didn't say it because that would have I don't want to kick a bud while he's down. But I was thinking it because I was like, man, if you would have paid attention to what I was telling you 6 months ago, you wouldn't be here. It would be so unlikely that you would be here because you were able to focus on what mattered and have the correct meeting rhythms. And he was like, well, I just give my team books to read, and I pay them like $20 every time they read a book that I ask them to read. And I'm like, that's not enough. You have to be involved as a leader. You have to set up this thing. It's like, no, we're flat across the organization. We don't need meetings. So I was like, okay, all right, if that's what you think. And lo and behold, he's gone through about a year and a half right now of really, really bad times in his business. And I'm honestly not sure if he's fully going to make it out, but he's still working through that. So guys, meetings are important. They matter on so many different levels. There's so much opportunity that entrepreneurs lose within their bad meetings. And so what this webinar is about helping you to try to work through that, get on the other side of this and do meetings really, really well. But what if you could, what was that? Something fell. Oh, okay. We're good. What if in your organization, what if meetings were fun? What if there was something that you actually look forward to? Because what came out of the meeting, what if meetings drove huge revenue for your organization? And what if meetings drove relevant activity consistently? Like, what if that was the reality? Would you still hate meetings? And I think the resounding answer is no, you would not hate meetings. They would be freaking awesome if these were reality. Who doesn't want fun meetings? Who doesn't want to feel like they wasted time? Who wants better revenues for their organization? Who wants to drive activity consistently that matters for the operations of the organization? Me, right here, this guy, that's what I want. If that's the case, then we've got to learn to do these exceptionally well. So the deep questions: how, or is it even possible to move from all this negativity, the rabbit trails, the frustration, the long, boring soapbox type meetings that nobody cares about, that doesn't apply to anything in reality? It just sounds like a sermon. Can we go from that? How do we get out of that? Is it possible to move from all this negativity to meetings, to around the meetings? How do we perform good surgery as surgeons of our business? And I'm going to get to that thought in a minute, but I just want to plant that in your ear. How do we perform good surgery as surgeons of our own businesses? And how do we remove the dread of doing another meeting? Yet another meeting. How do we remove that? Is there hope? Or is this just my cross to bear as the owner or as a participant in my organization? And I'm here to say with a resounding yes, there is hope. And you can get out of this mess and this rat race and this wheel of frustration. And you can move from where you are to where you want to be, which is fun, energetic meetings that actually drive success for your organization, that drive to clarity, that are so awesome. They drive revenue. They actually cause your organization to prosper because you're doing them so well. So don't dread another meeting. Just stop and hear what I have to say in this webinar. And I think that you will be very pleasantly surprised on the other end, and it will help you in leaps and bounds, as my mother used to say. Again, my name is Jason Ellinger. Please like this webinar and subscribe to our channel, because I put out content just like this every single week to help entrepreneurs reach their goals, hit their dreams, Anyways, go upwards. I help entrepreneurs go upwards through boots on the ground knowledge, wisdom, and basic Bible knowledge, because I'm a Christian, to help people prosper in their lives. That's what I do. I've done that for years. And we started the YouTube broadcast about 6 months ago, and we're working on growing that as big as we could possibly make it. And so please like the video, subscribe to the channel. Did I say that right? Like the video, subscribe to the channel. I used to say subscribe to the channel, like the video, whatever. Do the right thing, and let's press forwards. And hit the notification bell. That one right there, the yellow one. All right. The stark reality is meetings are supposed to be where the magic happens in business. Meetings are where the magic happens. I cannot remember how many times in my first years of doing business where I'd be going home in the evening and I'd be like, oh my gosh, telling my wife, this problem existed, and that guy's an idiot, and that guy just doesn't care, and I don't even know why we hired this person in the first place if they think this stupid way. And it would be so frustrating. My wife was like, well, what can I do about it? I was like, well, you're no help. We've been married for 16 years by now. Don't do this in your first year of marriage. That will probably get you a divorce. So after you've been married for a while, you have a very strong and good relationship like I have with my wife, you can have much better and deeper conversations. So meetings are supposed to be where the magic happens. And I'd go home, tell my wife about it. And she's like, well, I can't do anything about it. Or she would be working and she would say, man, I hate this. I hate that person. And they're doing this thing wrong. And they're just not following through. And I was like, well, did you talk to them about it? It's like, no. Like, well, how are they supposed to improve? Well, I don't know. Well, who's their supervisor? Well, so and so is their supervisor. Did you tell so and so? No. Well, how are they supposed to improve? The magic in business happens in meetings. Okay. And that's just one type of meeting. That's like in the one-on-one type of meeting that I'm talking about. We'll get that in a little bit. So the stark reality is the magic for business happens in meetings. And listen, I alluded to this earlier, but listen, for the businessman or woman, meetings are the surgery to the surgeon. They are the surgery for the surgeon who practiced medicine for years and years and years to learn how to become incredibly great at his job and to apply it to where he could give life-giving help to the patient. And he trained and trained and trained for years and years and years to get to this point, and now he's awesome at it. And then all of a sudden, he's like, I hate doing surgery. I don't want to do surgery. I never wanted to do surgery. But you're like a world-class surgeon. Like, I hate surgery. That is like the business leader saying, I hate meetings. What? Yes, it's literally a business person. When he says, or business or team leader or an executive of any kind, if they say, I hate meetings. That's like you as a surgeon saying, surgeon saying, I hate surgery. Because that is where the real work happens in organizations. Now, the question I have for you today. You are the surgeon for your organization. So are you any good at business surgery? Are you any good at business surgery? If you're a leader in your organization, you're a surgeon for that section of your organization. You're a leader of a team. You're a team surgeon. You are the one applying. By the way, I have a medical background. Before, when I was in the United States Air Force. Anyway, so that's where this medical terminology comes from. But if you are applying yourself as a leader, you can't say you despise the very thing that makes you most effective. I learned this from who did I learn this from? It wasn't one of the great teachers. Maybe John Maxwell. I don't think it was John Maxwell. Maybe a Patrick Lencioni. Anyway, it was one of those great writers who talks about concepts for business and how to apply and be an incredible practitioner for your business. And he said, look, if you're not a great surgeon and you're working and doing surgery every day, or if you just hate doing surgery, how will you ever get the results for yourself and your team that you actually want? You will hate your life. You will hate showing up to work every day because you have to do something that you continually hate. And meetings are not meant to be that way. Meetings are supposed to be a collection of ideas where people engage. They engage in an incredible dialogue and debate, and then they leave with clear actions on what they're supposed to be doing. So the stark reality is you are the surgeon for your business. And if the meetings are boring, it means you're doing bad surgery, which means it's your fault. What it also means that you are the solution, and you can fix this very, very effectively. I'm not going to say easily because nothing in business is easy, but you can fix it very effectively. And it's up to you. It literally is up to you as the business leader to fix this area of your organization, and you can do it. I'm here to say, as a person who's done this myself, I took the theory and applied it for years and years and years, and it's impacted our organization incredible. Made me be able to sleep better at night and helped me weather the storms that the market has offered us when we go through innovation and political or whatever other market conditions that exist that impact our industry. And it's helped me get through this. And this is the practice in business that helps you weather those storms. And so that's why I wanted to share this with you. It's not typically a very pizzazzy subject. It's not typically something that people look like. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to do more meetings. It's like, meetings? What a boring thing to do a webinar on. But in fact, if you do this right, it will be the biggest revenue driver for your organization this year. And it will help you sleep better at night. So please pay attention to this. All right. So are you doing good surgery for your business or organization? All right. The big question. Why are meetings so freaking boring and ineffective. Why? And there are really two main reasons. If you have ever watched a movie, right? Kind of these old words am I using here? If you've ever watched a movie, one of my team members, he's like, I went to see a picture. It's like, a what? Like, I look at a picture on my cell phone. It's like, a picture? No, he went to the cinema, to the movie theater. Anyways, if you're ever watching a movie, you'll notice that a movie is about 2 hours and change long, right? A movie is about 2 hours, 30 minutes, right? And for the entire time, you're not doing anything active, not incredibly productive, but you're sitting there and you are engaged. How is it that we can sit and watch a 2.5-hour movie and be engaged? How is that? We're actually doing nothing. If we were sitting in a meeting, we would kind of be nodding off and falling to sleep prior to this webinar. After this webinar, it's a completely different scenario. All right. But then you'd be nodding off and falling to sleep, right? But now you're sitting in the movie theater, you're watching this film, this picture, this movie, whatever you want to call it, and you're looking at it and saying, okay, this is interesting. I'm engaged. I'm thinking about the plot. Oh, that actor, is that going to be the guy that gets killed, or is this going to be the outcome, or oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen next. And you're engaged, right? Because of the characteristics of how movies are made, right? So in business, there's a lot of similarities to that. A lot of meetings in business, they can be around 90 minutes long, a little bit shorter than a movie, but an hour and a half, right? And they have some characteristics, but they're actually applicable to our lives. They actually, if we participate and do them well, they actually impact our lives in some way. So if we can sit in something that impacts us in no way whatsoever and pay attention for 2 hours and remember something from that, then we can also do the same in our meetings. And so this is just something that's important that I want to, I just want to help you kind of grasp, to really try to get a little bit more understanding around that, and just to understand that there are some connections and there's some things that we can do. All right. So plain answer number one, why are meetings boring and ineffective? Because your meetings, in the mistaken spirit of professionalism, somebody said, in order to be professional, we have to make sure that there's no drama and that everything is cut and dry and just the facts, man, just the facts. No, in order to make your meetings effective, drama and productive conflict must be a reality. Out of these two, conflict is the most powerful required element and often creates needed drama. Your meetings must have drama. They must have conflict in order for you to have effective meetings. This is the plain answer. I couldn't think of another way to title this. Plain answer number one. Again, guys, I'm a boots on the ground, and girls, I'm a boots on the ground kind of guy. Here's the theory. Here's the information. Plain answer one. Because your meetings, in the mistaken spirit of professionalism, they lack drama and productive conflict. Okay? If you introduce drama and productive conflict into your meetings, this is going to drastically increase the output of those meetings. Engage people that around the things that matter, and help you as a leader become more interested and interesting, because you actually understand what it is that you're going after in these meetings. All right. Keys for the meetings. You should have drama and productive conflict on a routine basis in your meetings for them to be effective. So many people say, I don't want to deal with the drama. I don't want to have drama. But ladies and gentlemen, when you get up in front of your marketing team and you say, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to have our marketing masters meeting for this week. And as we go into this meeting, I want to remind you of something I just want to give you a very stark reminder. The marketing team in this organization, this is me, right? Looking into the eyes of my marketing team. The marketing team in this organization is the head of the spear. You create hope, and you eventually, trickling down through all the efforts that you're making, grow this organization. This is the tip of the spear for our company. And how well we do and what we can throw this spear at and hit it and drag it home and eat it is the rate at which we can grow our organization. Or if we're not good hunters and this spear doesn't hit flesh and we don't kill anything and drag it home, guess what happens to our company? Doesn't grow. And so you as a leader start to dramatize and help the team see the reason why what they're doing in that meeting matters. Now you say, all right, guys, we've got these few key contracts in the past few days, weeks, months, whatever. Now that we have these contracts, we have to go and we have to get the work out of these contracts. That is the single problem that we have to solve right now in this meeting. Now, when we leave this meeting, we need to have some ideas and actions that we're going to take between this meeting and the meeting that we're going to have next week, because by the way, we're meeting again every single week. And we need to have had done something that mattered, that worked, that moved the needle. And so as we engage today, I want you girls to remember, we are the tip of the spear. We are going to grow this organization, or it's not going to grow. So let's get to work. And so you've introduced a drama section for your organization, serving everyone in your organization incredibly well. So many leaders don't get this. They're like, well, I don't want to have to do that. If you don't want to have to do that, then you need to get out of leadership, because your team desperately needs you to lead, to show them why it matters, to help them understand the dangers of not getting this right, and then drive to clarity on what the thing is that you need to solve today. And that includes dramatizing this thing to make sure that you can draw out the ideological differences on your team, which is the middle point in this slide here on the screen. But draw out the ideological differences so that you can drive to the best solutions that are most likely going to cause you to win. And by the way, this happens in every single section of your organization, in every meeting that you have. Okay? You're doing this in every single meeting, every single time, with the exception of the daily stand-up meeting. Aside from that meeting, which we're going to get to that in a minute, don't worry. I'm going to go through the actual meetings as promised. I'm going to add through the actual meetings that you need to have in your organization to help prosper. But you have to be able to get your team engaged by introducing dramatizing what it is that you're doing, and then really working on clarifying what it is that needs to be done by the end of this meeting, so that as you work through the meeting, you're able to clearly understand the differences between what people are thinking, how they think that we need to act, and how we're going to apply, and how we're going to take action, and then drive to clarity on what the actual action steps are going to be. Now, listen, it's the leader's job to ensure this is a reality. It is your job. If you don't do this, no one else will. No one else can. Okay? You have to set the tone. As the leader, whether you're the team leader or whether you're the leader of the organization, you have to set the tone. It is your job. You must engage your team by dramatizing and introducing that drama at the beginning of the meeting. Great leaders bring people in, draw people in, just like a great movie does. At the beginning of the movie, you'll notice that this big drama starts to happen. Such and such and such happened, and this really bad thing happened. This really, 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 really bad guy did this bad thing, and now this is such an unjust situation. Oh my gosh, we've got to solve it. And the entire movie is about the solution to that thing, or something like that. So to keep people engaged, these two must exist. Avoiding tension and ending meetings on time is at the heart of bad meetings. Now, I am not one for going and having super long meetings. I don't like that. But if you're just trying to avoid any tension and end the meeting on time, you will have very bad meetings. You have to be able to have the risk of having an outburst, controlled, obviously, and based on vulnerability-based trust. But you have to be able to have a very heated conversation in a meeting, or the opportunity for it to get heated, and so that you can drive to good solutions. To keep people engaged, these must exist. If you and I want great meeting, if you and I want leaders to be great as leaders, we must mine for conflict and legitimate, not stupid, not useless, not just mean reasons, but actual legitimate reasons to uncover constructive ideological conflict. What does that look like? Think about the same marketing meeting. We're in the marketing meeting. Well, Joe thinks we need to send out handwritten letters to our clients. Stacy thinks we need to send out thousands and thousands of emails. Which one is right? We have a discussion about this. Which one's going to impact the client the best? Which one's actually going to get to the person we need to get it to? And we say, all right, why do you think that's the best? Why do you think that's the best? And bring it up. Well, I'm not going to say anything because Joe, John is always right, and so I don't want to. I just don't want to deal with the drama. Like, no, Stacy, I need you to say why you think this is a bad option. We need to talk about this so that we can drive to the best solution, because your idea might be the best, and I want to know why. And so we draw that out by finding legitimate reasons to uncover constructive ideological conflict. Now, in order to do this, you have to have a great unified team, and a team that knows that you're not out to argue simply for the sake of arguing and being mean to each other and cutting each other down. No, it's for the sake of driving to clarity for your organization so that you get the best possible results. And nobody is allowed, obviously, to name call, make mean, ugly comments to one another, but argument for the sake of driving to clarity and do the things that matter to drive the company forward is what you're after. You have to have this as a part of good meetings. Now, if you show up to a meeting and you're like, here's the drama part of this meeting, here's what we need to accomplish. Guys, I know you two particularly have kind of a challenge with this, or you have a differentiation of opinion on this. So we need to talk about that right now. And we need to drive to the solution for this thing. What are we going to do in this scenario? What are we going to do with this thing? Put it on the table. Guys, get it out on the table. When you do that, meetings become infinitely more interesting. And it also means you as a leader need to know your people well enough to understand that there are differences, to understand that there are underwater rocks that you can hit when you're walking through the water. Like when you're walking through the water in a river and it's kind of going like that and you can't see the rocks, and you actually stub your big toe on a rock that you couldn't see under the water. That's what I'm talking about. Underwater rocks. Bang. Ow, that stinking hurt. Right? So you got to draw those out to help the people talk about those things so that you can work through those in a very engaging way. And when you do that, you will get such good results and such better output from your team. So this keeps the team engaged, leads to more passionate discussions, and ultimately much better decisions are made. And that's what you're after as a business owner, as a business leader. You want better decisions to be made more consistently. If you can do that in your meetings, and if this is a consistent part of your meetings, that alone will probably grow your business by twice this year if you simply do that well. I mean, that's a bombshell. That's huge. So if you can do that well, you will grow your business. Better decisions equals better surgery for the surgeon, right? Which equals better outcomes for the patient, which is your business, right? And you're the surgeon for your business. So do incredible surgery. All right, plain answer number 2. There's only 2 answers. Remember, the first one was that you lack drama and productive conflict. That's plain answer number 1. So start having drama and productive conflict in your meetings. All right, we're going to get to the meetings in a minute. But plain answer number 2 out of 2, is the meetings lack appropriate structure and context. Now, when your meetings have the appropriate structure and context, you will drive to decisions. You will help people understand what type of meeting this is and help keep the train on the tracks, train on the rail. The all-in-one staff meeting, where we just call a weekly staff meeting for the entire team. Blech! Shoot me already, please. Somebody just kill me, because that just means we're all going to show up, waste a ton of time, do absolutely nothing, and leave frustrated. Those types of meetings, just shoot me already, please. Oh my gosh. Don't make me attend another one of those. So when your meetings lack the appropriate structure and context, then you will have this reality, the all-in-one staff meeting, which is terrible. So I'm going to share with you what worked for me and my organization around creating appropriate structure and context for the meetings. And this is going to help you in your growing, your making sure that this is not a reality in your company. So do more. So what's going to happen though, if you follow this, you're going to do more meetings. You're going to do more meetings, not less. I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought you were going to say we could do less meetings and do this stuff in the meetings and we'd be fine. No, we're actually going to do more meetings with the correct context. We're going to dramatize and we're going to mine for conflict as we do them. When you do meetings like this, it changes the reality of your company. It changes the trajectory, and every single meeting becomes much more fruitful. Note, to do these meetings effectively, I alluded to this earlier, you must have a team that has vulnerability-based trust. Now, this is discussed in another video, but and I haven't made that video yet, so it's going to be in the future. So make sure you subscribe. So when I talk about that, you have that access to that. But in order to do this well, you're going to have the correct meetings in the correct context, dramatize the meetings, and mine for conflict. Now, what meetings are those? Let's get right to it. Meeting types and rhythms. Throughout your business, now this is something you can write down. There's 7 meeting types that eventually you should drive towards being able to have in your organization on a consistent basis. Each of them has a different timeline as to when you do them. Okay, so we're going to start with this one. The 2 weekly meetings that I think are the most impactful meetings for your organization that you can institute in the next 60 days, and it will change your entire organization as you start doing them well. All right, number 1, daily stand-up meeting. It's 15 minutes. Remember, you need to do more meetings, but not all of them are long. This is a meeting that should happen every single day for 10 to 15 minutes on your team, and they should talk about what they're going to do and accomplish by the end of the day. Maybe share a piece of internal information, communication, do a shout out to one of your team members, or possibly share a piece of training information that they need to pass along to the other team members that came from a previous shift or a situation with a client this week or something like that. It's a 10 to 15 minute meeting, and you simply share these things. Individual squads that work together correctly. This is not the entire office. These are individual squads or teams separated, and they do a stand-up. A lot of times it's a stand-up meeting for the very reason, so that nobody gets too comfortable and just starts jabbering, so that you're actually talking in and among your team and get used to following up with your team on things that are driving productivity in that section for that day. Like, okay, what do we have to finish by the end of this day? We have to finish this, this, this. Okay, John, do you have that? Sally, do you have that? Stacy, you have that? Okay, Alex, you have that? All right. Who's hitting the roadblock? Can you help him with that? Yep, can help him with that. Okay, great. By the way, it's John's birthday. Happy birthday, John. John, he's going to be taking a day off next week or something crazy. You know, we have a birthday present. Here's his birthday present, his birthday card. Sing happy birthday. And by the way, the reason we do this work is core value. You mentioned the core value and you move on. All right, meeting shut down. Let's get to work, guys. That singular meeting for your organization will increase productivity. That 10 to 15 meeting will change your company. If you do this every single day for your team in their section, and you have teams working on this, they will feel more seen, feel that you're paying attention, because now you actually are paying attention. Instead of being frustrated at results that you are not achieving, you're actually paying attention and they're getting some forward movement. And you're like, okay, you're clear on what's supposed to be done that day, and they're clear on what's supposed to be done that day. And now they're actually working on it. And because they know that tomorrow we're going to talk about it again, stuff starts getting done real fast. All right. So this is a really cool meeting that you institute that my shift leaders, they started doing, and it drastically increased the productivity in those sections and communication and connectivity of the team. And it actually, even for the leaders, increased the respect that they had among their team from their teams. because before they didn't see them in that way as often. But once they understood that their team leader was driving to clarity, showing them what mattered every day, and mentioning the core value, and actually caring enough to really hold them accountable to the things that matter for the company, it changed drastically. And I did one other secret thing. This is a bonus pro tip. Because I have two shifts and they work on two different times. One comes in and they work a shift, and another one comes in and they work a shift. I had the two team shift leaders pass a message between each other to the other team. So every shift, each leader passes a meeting to the other leader, and they tell that they share something with that team, and that message is shared in this meeting. And when they do that, it is incredibly inspirational just to see. I see the messages that they share across the teams, and I had no idea how meaningful that would be to our team. But once I started to see those messages go across the team, I was just like, oh my gosh, that this leader is so much more mature than I realized. And I think simply because I initiated a 10 to 15 meeting daily, we increased productivity, and we unified the team, and we raised the respect for the leader in the eyes of their team. And that, you cannot place money on how valuable that is. So that's when I want to start with this. That's why I wanted to start with this meeting. This is something you can do right now. You put those boots on the ground and you can start initiating this, and it will change your company. All right, the weekly one-on-one. Now this is the meeting, the weekly one-on-one, 30 to 60 minutes. And the reason I say 30 to 60 minutes, sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 60, sometimes things happen. You got to talk about them. But this is the meeting where I would go home at night, and I would tell my wife about something that would happen. And I'd be like, I'm so frustrated with this guy. And she's like, well, I can't do anything about it. Why are you telling me? I'm like, well, you're no support. That's no help at all. I need this thing fixed. Well, I can't fix it. You're going to have to fix it yourself. It's like, oh gosh, I'm so dumb. Yes, I have to go fix it myself. And so now I go back to work the next day, and I initiated at this point, after about 4 years of this frustration, by the way. This was not like, you're getting this information in this singular webinar right now, and that is ridiculously valuable, because I could have saved 4 years of frustration. And you just watch this webinar and implement, and you will save so much frustration for yourself in your life. You meet with the team members every single week. Your direct reports meet with you. And by the way, everybody in my company has their leader, and they meet with their direct reports every single week, and they do a one-on-one. In those one-on-ones, they ask these questions. What were you supposed to do? And I ask these questions of my direct reports. What did you do? What must be done next between this meeting and next meeting? What help do you need from me? What roadblocks are you facing, essentially? And we mention a core value, and a mind for conflict, because inevitably on a team, you're the team leader. This is a team member. There's probably going to be some conflict somewhere. Yeah, is there conflict with me? Is there conflict around a thing that we're trying to launch that's just not freaking working? Why are we not getting to what we're after in this meeting? Why is this initiative in our organization taking 6 weeks to get off the ground? I mean, you've said that this is supposed to happen for the last 6 weeks. Why is this not happening? And we get to talk about that in this specific meeting. And you do this every single week. Remember, the other meeting was every single day, only 10 to 15 minutes. So don't forget, this meeting is every single week. And when you have a meeting like that every single day, and then when you have a meeting like this, every leader with their team member, their direct reports, every single week, you will be amazed by the level of productivity that just goes simply because people are paying attention and dealing with the real issues that matter in the moment or in the week. You don't let issues bubble up and just explode and somebody just quits because they're angry. No, you have a routine of dealing with the issues in the work life cycle of the business. And that's so important. So once this happened, even my wife's like, well, you don't complain about your team members anymore. It's like, yeah, because now I deal with the stuff in the moment. I deal with this stuff because every week I know I'm going to meet with this person, and they know I'm going to meet with them. And when I have issues that we got to work through, I tell them in the meeting, and we deal with it. and then we just move on. And that helps so many businesses increase productivity and trust in their teams. And it helps you to lead well. All right, so these are two types of meeting rhythms. And I would say if you're going to start by initiate the meeting rhythms into your organization, these two are where you start. Start with these. They're the easiest to implement, and they have the fastest and most powerful impact as you start moving forward. Now let's get to the others. There's 7 altogether. All right, the weekly tactical meetings. This is a meeting where you have a lightning round, few key metrics, real-time agenda, that's created from the lightning round. People tell what they did, what they're working on, and you work through really quickly getting an agenda from that for that meeting from what everyone talked about and what the main initiative of the week is as the leader. You resolve any of those issues, remove any problems throughout the team that they're having trouble with. This is a whole team staff meeting. You resolve that. You enforce the clarity as to what it is that you're after. We are driving to get the work out of these contracts right now. That is the number one thing we're doing. And everything you're doing in your sections need to be aimed at making this a reality. And that's the leader saying that as we work through. Okay, now, if that's the thing that we're after, what are you guys, what are we all spending time on? Okay, that's all pointing kind of towards that thing that we're after. All right, we're very short-term topics. There's nothing strategic that gets discussed in this. We don't move to strategic items in any way, shape, or form, because if we do, it's going to go much longer than 60 minutes. Now we can go up to 60 minutes, but not longer. And we mentioned a core value, and we mine for conflict in this meetings. By the way, guys, I want to make sure you see that. Look in the last slide. At the bottom, I said 10, 15-minute meeting. You mentioned the core value, but in every other meeting, I want to point this out to you. You will mention the core value. Here it is, 30 to 60-minute meeting. You will mention a core value, and you will mine for conflict in that meeting. If you don't dramatize it and mine for conflict, you will cause people to not engage and make very boring meetings. All right. Now, back to the meetings. Talked about the weekly tactical. Now we're moving. Weekly leadership meeting. This is a meeting that the executives of the organization have. Lasts about 90 minutes. And you talk about, you do an icebreaker, you do an intro, you dramatize the meeting. Why does the meeting matter? Talk about what the leadership team meetings. They should know this at this point. They kind of almost probably, most of your leaders at this point could probably help you or even take your place in helping you dramatize the meeting. And that is the beauty of this. Once you get good at this as a leader, your leaders start becoming good at this and doing it in their teams, and they do it really, really well. And now people are all of a sudden engaged and driving to solutions, and you're not even a part of those meetings, but you've taught them to do this. So you dramatize the meeting, you review key metrics. This takes 5 minutes. You review your desired future. This is talking about strategic future. So that's a different meeting. That's a different webinar, by the way, but it will be coming out. So like and subscribe so that you can get that content. By the way, there's a question. I'm going to get to the question as soon as I finish this one. Review your defining objectives with your leadership team. Mine for conflict during the discussion and problem areas. Review and discuss problem areas and create the action items. You work through that in this meeting, and by the end of it, you also mention a core value. Mine for conflict. And look for ideological differences between the team members on that team so that you can drive to solutions and draw them out, making sure that your action items are the right action items heading in the right direction. Okay. And that there's no dissonance so that the time you come to this meeting next week, because again, we're coming to this exact meeting next week and we're going to be talking about this stuff. And by the way, the leadership meeting has to happen every single week. You're like, I don't want to do that. You're a leader. You have to do that if your organization is going to prosper. Like, I don't want to have a meeting. I don't want to have a company with meetings. If you want your company to prosper over time and survive the market changes, you are going to have to learn to do these meetings, do them really well, and implement them into your organization. So take that, implement it. Your company will prosper. You will love it. You will sleep better at night. You'll be very happy because you're making more money now, and your business is actually living out its values. All right, so review and discuss the problem areas, create the action items. Make sure you mention the core value in this, because mentioning the core values in each of these meetings is how you create culture. This drone beat of making sure that you're mentioning the core values drives culture And as you mine for conflict, you reinforce the understanding that, look, this matters. These meetings matters. I care about what you guys think, and the differences that you have are slowing us down. And as we drive to solutions around, uh, uh, we remove those differences, those underwater rocks. If we take them out of our pathway, we can quickly and very, very effectively drive to great solutions. And as we do this, our business will grow over time. It's almost impossible, if you do these things correctly, for your business not to grow over time. I'm not talking 3 months. I'm talking 3, 5 years. That's what we're talking. We're not talking short term. We're talking long term, baby, because that's what great businesses that stand the test of time are. I mean, when you see a business, like you read on a Coke bottle or the root beer can, and it's like, oh my gosh, this business has been in business for like 80 years. I guarantee you, they've got great meetings. They've got great meetings going on inside their organization. And companies that do that, if you want to be the same, stand the test of time, then you're going to have to implement the same. So, weekly leadership meetings, 90 minutes. Now, I've got a question. What if I don't have knowledge of what to say? Someone in the audience said, what if I don't have the audience of what to say? How do I create this drama? I feel like I don't have what to say. I don't know what to say. Well, if you don't have the knowledge about what to say, probably means you haven't spent enough time thinking about it. As a leader, if you're doing all your work, doing all my projects, getting my stuff done, and like, okay, it's meeting time, chinch, I'm jumping into the meeting. That's a very poor tactic for leading your meetings well. Now, when you approach your meeting, for example, let me just take the one-on-one, maybe a weekly tactical meeting for your team, and you're addressing specific short-term topics that your organization is facing, and you say, okay, guys, today, okay, so before the meeting, by the way, before the meeting, you need to be thinking how you should dramatize the meeting. In fact, as a leader, I'm always constantly, eternally, it feels like, watching for inspiration in life to help me better explain something to my team, to help me better explain or offer the opportunity for them to step in a dramatic, have a better grasp on being able to understand the drama that I'm trying to introduce. So when your team members, or sorry, when you enter your meeting, you start to think about your weekly tactical meeting, and you have these specific things to talk about. You need to think about, okay, why does that matter? You as the leader of the organization or of the team have to, like, these short-term topics are the things that we're going to talk about. Now, why does that matter to my team? Why does it matter to our company? Why does it matter to our team? And why does it matter to me? And really think and answer that question. You might write yourself a narrative, like 4 or 5 sentences, like, this is why this matters. At first, that might be something that you have to do so that you can actually bring that to your team effectively. And then practice saying it out loud. Sometimes when you say something in your head, it sounds way, way better. And then when you say it out loud, it's like, that sounds dumb as a rock. So try to avoid that. And this preparation, like writing down what it is that you need to work through, the specific short-term topics, and then asking yourself those 3 questions. Why does it matter for our company? Why does it matter for the team? And why does it matter for me? And you will be able to come up with the answer. If you really care, you will be able to come up with those answers. And then you take you take that to the team and you say, all right, guys, the reason this matters for our company is because of this, this, and this. Those 3 meetings that you just met, those 3 answers to those questions that you just said. It matters because of this, this, and this. Now, we have to work on these things, and it matters because of this, this, and this. And I'd just like to help you understand that, we've worked on these types of problems in other areas of our company, and because we've been in business for such a long time, this was you may tell a story. This is what happened in such and such time, quickly, because if you tell it too long, people will start falling asleep. And this was the outcome. We actually overcame. And this is a similar type of situation. It's going to impact our company in this specific way. And it matters for the company because of this. And it matters for me personally this way. And it matters for us as a team this way. And if you really explain it like that, people will feel that. They feel that you care and that you actually took some time to prepare, because you did. You actually took some time to prepare. But I'm not talking about 3 hours to prepare. I'm talking about 30 minutes. You should be able to do this in less than 30 minutes as you get ready for your meeting. So thank you very much. That was an excellent question. I really appreciate whoever sent that in. And thank you to Karina for making sure I saw that and reminding me twice while we're going through the webinar to make sure that I actually got to answering it. I hope I did it. If you have any further questions on that, please let me know and I will further answer the question. All right. I don't remember if we're okay. So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Annual, biannual team member review. This is a 90-minute meeting. So this is also a meeting, but listen, it's only annual or biannual meeting. So I actually have biannual ones with our team. If led well, this one should feel like a celebration. So this is a 90-minute meeting that you have once or twice per year, depending on your company. And you do lunch, or you take them out to coffee, or you guys go on a walk, or whatever you want to do for your organization. And you talk through their KRAs, give them focus areas to focus on for the upcoming year. If warranted, this is the time when you give them a salary raise or increase. You collect information from your team before you have this meeting to make sure, as you have this meeting, that they are feeling and seeing that they get the information from you and their team on how they could improve and what they're doing exceptionally well. And you share that feedback with them during this meeting so that they understand what they need to focus on, maybe some of their blind spots or weak spots for the upcoming year. And it should be a very, very positive experience. So many people are afraid of these annual, biannual team member review meetings because they're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen when I'm getting fired? Like, if that's your organization, you should already know if this is going to be a bad meeting, because you're having one-on-one meetings every single week. This should be pretty much a celebratory meeting. Like, oh my gosh, you're still here. You're doing a great job. We're loving working together. And because you fixed everything that we've talked about throughout this whole year, we're doing awesome. So this should pretty much never be a negative meeting unless the leader is leading poorly. Okay. So mention a core value, mind for any conflict. If there's any conflict that they're having between them and their leader, if there's any conflict that they're having on their team, you need to be looking for that in these meetings to make sure that you're drawing out interest from the team member and making sure you're demonstrating that you care because you care, and you're applying yourself effectively as a leader, making sure that they have their needs met and that they know a clear path forwards. All right, so that is the annual, biannual team member review. You need to implement that into the organization if you have not already, if you have team members. All right, now the leadership quarterly and annual offsite meetings, 1 to 2 full days. Now, this is where you get into your business. You have a team of leaders and you get into your business. You make a 12 to 18 month plan for your company. You create a desired future statement. You create your defining objectives for your organization. You mention for conflict, you mind for values, and work through building a strategy for the company. This is a complete different webinar where we could talk about doing strategic meetings, but that's a separate type of meeting. Happens once. Well, if it's a quarterly one, you're doing it 4 times per year. If it's your annual offsite meeting, then obviously it's 1 time per year. And I do mine every single November. All of our leaders know that this is going to happen. They're prepped for that, so that we create this 12 to 18 month plan before the year actually starts, so that when January comes, we hit the ground running. We already know what the goals are. We're not just fumbling around trying to figure out what we're going to do this year. We already know, and we're working towards it. Okay. So leadership quarterly and offsite meetings. This happens. This is how, guys. I just want to draw back to the second point, the plain answer number 2, because this is giving your meetings context. This is how you make sure that as you have your meetings, that you have effectively dramatized them, that you're effectively mining for conflict in all of them, and that you're giving them conflict. Context as you're working through this, helping your team members understand exactly what is supposed to happen during this meeting. Okay. When you do this and the team members know this information, you have a lot more productivity coming out of the meetings. All right. Now, the monthly leadership training meeting. This is normally after the company has at least 2 levels of leadership, but it's really never too early to start building in your leaders. So make sure that this is a part of your company in some way, shape, or form. Now, if you're a small company and you have a very small team, this may be also done in the one-on-one sessions that you have on a weekly basis if you're teaching your leaders to lead. And so that is a very, very intentional thing that we do in my organization, and I'm more and more aware of as I lead our team forward, that in our one-on-one meetings, I want to make sure that I have an element where we discuss a critical improvement that we need to see in that leader going forwards, or maybe something that they need to share with their team, or maybe it's a deeper insight on some area of the company or some skill that needs to be developed. And so the monthly leadership training meeting happens for your team typically when your organization is a little bit bigger and you have at least 2 levels of leadership. You train the younger leaders in the meetings, to lead their team, instill culture and values. This is very important for you as a leader to help them do. You don't think about this, and you honestly, when you're at the very beginning of your building your business, you're like, I'm just trying to make money, make sure we make payroll, and make sure that everybody actually is working and doing their jobs and coming to work on time. Like I don't want to be thinking about making sure I'm instilling my team members or instilling culture. But as your company grows and you get multiple levels of leadership, if you have everybody just trying to make it through to the weekend, you will start feel like you're herding roaches or herding cats, trying to figure out what everybody's doing all the time and not knowing what anybody's doing, and everything's just frustrating. So this is the point where you're going to have to intentionally step aside and set up a meeting where you're leading your team, instilling culture and values, and making sure that's happening on a consistent basis, called cascading communication. You can watch a leadership video together. You can watch a webinar just like this one together. You can create a training program for your company to make sure that your team understands how you operate and what is expected of them, and how the culture in your organization is supposed to be, and how they're supposed to be leading their teams. You can make it an intentional activity for developing leaders. It should be an intentional activity for developing leaders in your organization each and every month. If you do this well and effectively, you will be proud of your leaders and your team on a consistent basis. And you'll kind of be surprised when somebody doesn't live up to what you think is required for them to prosper. And so you will have a lot less drama in the sense that people are surprisingly not doing what they're supposed to be doing for a long period of time. And you're like, oh my gosh, why is this happening? Well, this doesn't happen anymore because most of the time, I won't say anymore at all, because sometimes it will still happen and will surprise you. But if you do this part well, you will instill the culture and values in your team, and they will work together in a more cohesive manner, and they will help each other prosper. And when you have a team that's doing that consistently on a day-to-day basis, then you will have effectively started leading your organization incredibly well. So create a training program, make it intentional, develop your leaders, and that will help develop your company. In this meeting, you mention core values and you mind for conflict. Remember, six out of the 7 meetings, I'm saying mind for conflict. The first one is too short, but as we get to this, every single other meeting, you're mentioning the core values and you're minding for conflict. All right. If you need help facilitating any of these meetings, you can hire me as a virtual coach to help you facilitate your next meeting. Just write us and we'll help you do that. Pro tip: do not try implementing all of these meetings at once. Don't do it. If you try, you will probably fail, unless you're ridiculously disciplined. But in that case, most people probably don't like you, and your company is probably not growing like it should be. So you might just be the only one on your team if you're ridiculously disciplined and you could actually implement all these at one time. I couldn't. I'm a disciplined person, and I couldn't do it. But maybe you are. I don't know. Maybe you are, and everybody likes you. That's pretty cool. If that's good for you. If that's the case, good for you. So do not try to implement them all at once. Start with one. Implement it. Make sure this rhythm sticks, and then add the next one. And that's the hardest part, guys. Starting is not the hardest part. Going out and telling your team, we are going to change our company culture. We are now going to start having meetings. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, here it goes again. That's not the hard part, guys. The hard part is, in fact, it would be better for you to talk to your teams individually and be like, hey, we're going to have this meeting starting now. This very quietly, very peacefully. This meeting is going to be scheduled for this time every day. We're going to have this meeting starting tomorrow. We're going to have daily stand-ups. Don't make huge announcements. Just start the one meeting and then start initiating throughout the other teams in your organization. Start it, implement it, make sure the rhythm sticks. Don't add another meeting until the rhythm sticks. Everybody has to come to the meeting. The meeting must be a standing meeting that everybody understands that, like, you should not miss this meeting, not ever, because this is the vital functioning, like the heart pump of our organization. You cannot miss this meeting because what happens in this meeting drives everything that we're going to do. So if you do have to miss this meeting, like, make sure you're let us know in advance. Make sure you're on vacation, but meeting rhythms matter. So make sure the meetings are on a specific day at a specific time. The team knows exactly when they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be there, and what the context of the meeting is. And when everybody knows that, and it's on a consistent basis, everybody has the context, we can go through these meetings very effectively and implement them. All right, so implement the meeting, make it stick before you add the next one. Start with the one-on-ones, do it for a month. After it sticks, you've done it for 4 weeks now, do the daily stand-ups. Start the daily stand-ups. Do that for the next month. After that sticks, so you have the one-on-ones implemented, the daily stand-ups implemented, now we can go to the next set of meetings, okay? So don't try to implement all at once. It will be overwhelming and it might crush you. All right, so good meetings are time savers, not time wasters, okay? That's what I hope I'm sending that message across to each and every one of you. Good meetings done well are time savers, not wasters. Good meetings accelerate. Guys, they accelerate to rapid speed, great decision making, and they eliminate inactivity. If you can do this in your organization, that alone will cause so much more productivity and a likelihood of successful outcomes. Okay? Good meetings take practice. If it doesn't work the first time, if it feels a little corny, if it feels a little silly, it's okay. I heard one great entrepreneur, he's like, I just accepted it. Like, our organization is like a cheese factory. They don't make cheese, by the way. His point was they have cheesy, corny comments all the time. Like, it is dad jokes and cheese everywhere in his organization. He says that's fine. So if it feels that way, don't worry. You're on the right track. Just keep at it. Make sure you have the context. Make sure you dramatize the meeting. Mind for conflict. Don't think professionalism means we don't have conflict among our team. It's absolutely not. In fact, it's the opposite of the case. Great professionals can have incredible conflict with one another and still like each other at the end of the day. And so if you have a great team, that everybody knows that everybody there is there for the benefit of each other and the organization, not just there for selfish gain, then you can have incredible conflict. And it will lead to incredible activity. So great meetings accelerate decision making and eliminate inactivity. And they take practice. They're time savers, not wasters. I hope that message has gotten to in your heart and your mind. And I hope that this webinar has been very helpful to you, because if it is, it will change your business and your life. You will become the surgeon for your business that your organization needs you to be. If you do bad meetings, if they're a part of your business right now, that's impacting your bottom line. It's impacting your sanity. It's impacting your sleep. And it's causing you to grow slower than you should be growing. And you can change all of that right now by implementing great meetings. So if I can be any more service to you on this topic, please write us, drop a comment in the comments below. Let us know if you would like us to expand on a certain area of the webinar content. if you would like me to respond to a question, please leave it in the description, and not the description, in the comment section below. We see each and every one of those, and we respond to them as they are put there. So thank you very much for taking your time and spending it with me today. I hope it's been very valuable to you, and I look forward to seeing you in the upcoming webinars.